Good morning, everybody. You're here with Nick Hampton,
And Gemma Addison.
and we're here for the Fun Side of Business podcast. Today, we are very, very lucky to have a Suffolk business superstar in our midst. We have the one and the only of Platinum Cleaning, the managing director, Mr. Wayne Bullock.
What an intro.
That's like someone throw a fish, the seals are clapping.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, Wayne, what we're going to do is we want to find out a little bit about you, because I know you are Mr. Personality when it comes to finding you naturally, but under a podcast condition, I don't know quite how you're going to be. So we're going to find out. So Wayne, go on and tell us about your journey from can you imagine a little Wayne, by the way?
I don't want to imagine it.
I don't know if he's got a nickname for something else that he calls Little Wayne, but let's start with like that point, from the point where you left school. At what, 16 were you?
Yeah, 16.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 16 you left school with a couple of GCSEs in hand, probably your NRA, right?
That's
Oh,
right.
gosh,
Yeah, but everyone-
we're taking it back. Yeah.
In my red folder.
Yeah.
In the red folder that you thought was the most important thing to ever get a job.
And they asked me, where's the rest of the papers in here?
This is really thin.
Do you like stuff it forward like a swimming certificate or something, just to make it look better?
Oh.
So that was you at 16. Now you are at year 11 of Platinum.
So I started in 2012, so 13 years now.
Oh, okay, all right. So let's take you back a bit. Let's go from 16 to 2012.
Cool. Wow. So my first ever job was in retail. So I started off in a shop at 17, just turned 17. It was sports division back then.
Okay.
They were opening a new branch in Felixstowe, and I was the first ever youngest manager they ever employed to start a brand new shop.
Well done.
So I took on the Felixstowe shop.
How many staff did they have? One or two?
No, we had 6 back then. And I then got promoted to come to Ransom Juro Park, which is now B&Q.
Okay.
And I was running that for a little while. That was coming a little bit to, I wanted a bit more something challenging for myself. So I then went to as assistant manager at JD Sports.
Okay.
Then they offered me Lakeside, which was a massive progression for someone my age.
So you could have, or you did, or could have run Lakeside?
Yeah.
Okay.
I chose to, it was too far for me to travel every day. It was just not where I wanted to be at that time. So I then changed my direction for a slightly smaller company, which was Limited Shirts.
That's where I met Wayne.
Yeah. So
Hang on, what was it? Limited Shirt?
Limited Shirt. how old was I when we first met? 16?
It's got to be.
Yeah, he's seen me at my prime.
Yeah. Well, because I think I know your sister before.
Yeah.
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 And then obviously your cousin as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So for me, that was sort of more smaller unit. And then I went and covered like the shops around the areas for them.
Okay.
I then got fed up because retail for me is all about customer service. Back then, it was all about money. So it didn't align for what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So basically, that it took the passion out from the customer service to what figures are you on, what are you turning over and stuff like that.
As everything in retail, it's always about targets and commissions and things.
So I left there to just do a printing.
Was this Ancient House?
Ancient House Press, yeah.
Okay.
So,
we probably can't mention it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we could do whatever we like.
We're
not sponsored by anyone.
printers.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by anyone.
but yeah. And so
Sponsorship opportunities are available.
Yeah. So at the time I started my family then, so it was easy for me to have that kind of job. It was 12-hour shifts, 3 on, 4 off.
Okay.
So I did that for a little while. I then became, I suppose the kids were now growing up. I had the opportunity to start a cleaning company up with a family member and myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. And as you know, it was a super drugstore. And you've got alternative.
Okay, well, do you know what, Wayne? This is the thing. When you go along and say, I know this, yeah, you're right. Do you know what I do? But because we are, there's obviously we obviously are trying to focus on the fun side of business, but this is the real side of business, right?
Yeah.
So, and bizarrely enough, in my day to day, this is it's a really big story I use for a lot of people. where they go along and they kind of have that scenario of going, yeah, but as long as I do the right thing, my business is always going to be fine. And, you think, well, if you do everything to look after your clients, they're never going to leave you. And Wayne's story, which I'm sure he won't mind me talking about, was he did have one relatively very large client that was paying them well. And I remember, because this is like the early days when I first met Wayne, he was working incredibly hard, and, he could be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a store in Essex because the cleaning operative, I don't know what the PC term is, whatever, the cleaner, had phoned up and said, oh, I'm not coming in today. So Wayne would then go and cover that store to make sure that they had what they needed, or he'd go with, anyone he could rope in to go along and get the work done. And then he would spend the rest of the day in the job centre for that town, so he could then try and make sure that they had staff ready to be trained the next day. So it would be a perfect service to the customer. And then obviously after however long of doing this and breaking your back to try and do it, he then got a call to say, everything's great, everything's wonderful, but we're going with a national company. If you want to pitch, you can, but it's national. And at the time, that company couldn't cover national, and that was the end of that. And the crazy part is that, say, no fault, do everything you can, best customer service, best everything. It wasn't done over price. It wasn't done over anything else. It was just convenience. And that's the end of a business.
And sadly, that happens in business, doesn't it? People,
It just depends what you want from a company, really, and what. I mean, certainly dealing with nationals, you've got his advantage and he's got his disadvantage. So that was a big turning point for me, because I take everything too personally when it comes to work. I always have had that opinion where I give my all. So a little bit of reciprocation would be quite nice, but I do appreciate it's not their companies, so it could be, slightly different that way. So after that, it was a bit of an eye-opener for me and a bit of a change in direction. So even though I was doing the cleaning industry, I then moved to my work to Norwich. So I was covering all of Norfolk, all of Suffolk and all of Essex. So my area was massive. So I was doing like 16-hour days. So obviously just having young kids at the time was a little bit of a reflection of, where you want to be, what is this all about? So I then sat back. I think I spoke to Nick about.
I think there was a little bit of the maybe the employer of that one taking a bit of an advantage of you, a moment of weakness of, I don't quite know what I'm going to do, and here's my solution.
There was, yes, it was very much like that. Unfortunately, up until now, it's still not fixed. But I'm happy to glide over that and just say it was a learning skill for me.
But again, I think the nice thing is that sometimes when you go along and find yourself in a position that's bad, it then gives you less to risk to go along and take that plunge and go out yourself.
Well, I think for anyone who obviously wants to do that, for me, I started with zero. So when I started Platinum, I had zero. So I'm very humble to a degree. But when
that says the guy with the Porsche outside, right?
But when you've got like
your Rolex on his wrist,
but when you've got your mother-in-law paying for your food at the time, and you're, from looking back at like then, and you're only surviving on like £500 a month, and out of that you've got your mortgage, you've got your food, you've got your kids and stuff like that. So for me, I never forget where I came from, and I think you've always got to appreciate every day and never take anyone or anything for granted. So I think for me, that's my biggest thing. So when people say to me, why did you start Platinum off? It was all about giving the customer the best, because there's other cleaning companies out there. There's other people who do what we do, but what makes us different? And for me, I always find that I always care. It doesn't matter how many hours I deliver, they'll always get the best of what I can deliver. And I'm very lucky that I've had very good staff. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's
good.
That's like the emotional moment,
sales
pitch. Yeah, thanks to all my staff in case they're listening moment. And,
no, but it is. It's all down to them.
I mean, this is the thing, I suppose, the nice part is that, we know each other, Wayne. So it's not like I'm sitting here listening to someone and going, oh, wow, wasn't that really kind? I've been there, I got an invite to the barbecue. I've been to these things where he's there cooking for all his staff, and he's there
Yeah.
trying to go along and give back
Yeah.
for what he can.
It's
So,
genuine, definitely. Yeah.
okay, so that probably rounds off. So now we are at the point where Wayne now has a cleaning company. Okay, so go along and tell us, Wayne, the first year that you were in this cleaning company, how many days did you wake up and think, I don't know what I'm doing?
Yeah. Why have I started this?
I don't think I've never woke up because I always know what I want to achieve.
Okay.
So I think the pressures are what drives you at the beginning, and make you alive and want to do it. If you haven't got passion in it, then don't bother. So I would have said, whatever you set out to do, make sure you like what you do. It's not about the money; it's the focus and then getting it right for everyone's sake, because you've got a lot of livelihoods that you're now supporting.
They say that, don't they? They say if you love what you do, then you're not working.
Yeah.
So now it's you enjoy.
Yeah, so for me, that's my journey where I am today. The first year was very tough. There's a lot of hours, but you've got to have that dedication. And everyone takes different avenues. Someone will be like aggressive and go to where they want to go and hard. But mine's always been word of mouth. So I've been very fortunate. I've had some good customers along the way and still have got the good customers. So obviously I appreciate the business, if you know what I mean.
So how did you cope? Because obviously your business is pretty much staff dependent, right?
Yeah.
So how much of an HR background did you have before starting Platinum?
Well, I was a bit of a computer whiz kid. So, my coding skills and stuff like that.
The fact that there's a big grin on his face as he says this will tell you everything you need to know about his coding.
If it helps, hang on a second. I think this might be, was it 2025 was the year you put away the diary?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He used to have the black diary that he'd walk around with and kind of write his notes of what he had to do.
He's still got us in the car.
I was in the car, right, so maybe 2026 will be the year.
Yeah.
So Wayne is the most IT forced person, we shall say. If Wayne will go along and find the right way to do it, and most of the time it's paper and pen, and it works very well for him. But obviously, when you started, when you're starting to recruit people, and HR's got to play a big part, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's a very obviously the diverse we live in now. You've got to be on top of everything. So I think with the staff wise, I think you to keep hold of staff and the retaining and everything like that for why they would stay with me rather than anyone else. It's got to be how you treat them, i.e. they're part of the family. So when I say part of the family, Platinum is a family. We're family orientated. It's values, and they feel appreciated. So whenever we get feedback, from the staff, they always feel appreciated for what we offer. Sometimes you don't have to give them money to feel appreciated. We're now done training courses for them to do. Now, I'm not aware of anyone that does that at the moment. So for us, for them to get a certificate to say they've done 6 courses, it doesn't cost them anything. And we print off their certificates and we give them give them back to people as much as we can do. And obviously, as you mentioned about the barbecue, it's all stuff that, feel appreciated.
It makes people feel valued, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what probably, again, I like to think that we stand out from the rest from that. The customers definitely like the appreciation that you give back to your staff. Christmas time, they always have a present. It doesn't matter who they are, how many hours they work, everyone is treated the same.
So you mentioned that Platinum's quite a family business.
Yeah.
You have your son working with you, right?
That's right.
Tell us about the challenges that brings.
Oh, God.
Oh, every day.
Every day is a challenge.
Would I work with family? No, don't do it. Yeah, it is challenging, but it's also rewarding because you can see him come on and blossom from year from year. So that for me is it can be rewarding, but also the challenge from that is that you can never take the whatever bereavement you got home.
Yeah.
So you have to leave it at the office and go, or move on, because if not, it can ruin the relationship between father and son in this instance. So I think
what happens at work stays at work.
Yeah. So I think that's quite important that you leave it on the doorstep there, or talk it through and explain why. Because as you know, any family who works with, they'll always try and push the boundaries as much as they can do, or get a little bit cheeky, or they want to leave off and stuff like that.
So I'm guessing. I mean, that's the thing. So our godson, he's just turned 14 months, 15 months, and he started to work. Oh, hang on, 18 months, and he's now starting to push boundaries with everyone he possibly can. I'm guessing this doesn't stop then, because Logan's what,
23,
23, still pushing boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every day. Yeah. Work, home, everything. Yeah.
Come on, I'm nearly 40 and I still push boundaries of mine. So
I think you do as kids, with your parents, because you can get away with it slightly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's enjoyable.
So what does Logan do for you in the business?
So he's now taken over the domestic side. So he now books in from anything to do with domestic, carpet cleans, and also the accounts. He doesn't divert too much into the accounts, but he's also there on the back burner because we have an excellent company that does our accounts.
Okay, we don't need to talk about them. We'll leave that one there.
But yeah, so he does.
That is us, by the way, but we'll leave it there.
It's not. He's paying me for this.
we've just put RSL on a bit of paper and held it up.
Yeah, they'll give you an Amazon voucher.
Pretend.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, it's yeah. So he's and also whatever you need, he's just that handy person to have in the business, because whatever I haven't got time for, he'll just do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm away on holiday, he steps in to do kind of everything. And helps everybody, so the morale keeps up while I'm away. So that's a positive thing.
So in an ideal world, would he eventually step up? You retire and the business passes on through family, or
no? I don't think that's his calling.
Okay.
I think, like I said back in the beginning, you got to have the passion, you got to have the love. You can't make people have it. If you're looking for just a standalone business where you're just looking at figures and money, yes.
Yeah.
But if you want that, like I do, and hopefully it comes out.
So this is his like sports. So the same way that you had your journey when you did retail and you did the various sports stores and things until you found where you wanted to be.
Yeah,
that's his journey. You know, the same thing where he'll find his calling.
He knows what he wants to do. He wants to get into property, which is his game.
Okay.
So he's done quite well. He's done 2 properties now, so he's happy. He knows that's his route.
Yeah.
This bit, what he's doing is just giving him the confidence, the ability to know finances as well, talk to people, how he does that. So it's the life skills, because he's still young.
Yeah.
He's still got a long way to go, and I'm very proud of him. So yeah,
I'm sure he'll be pleased to hear that. I bet you've given him a lot of crap over the time.
You do, but the thing is, like when you've got kids, you never stop and pause and just say, "I'm proud of you."
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go, Logan. You heard it first.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Do you know what? I'm gonna cycle back only because Wayne has. So I've known Wayne for longer than Platinum, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Also, yeah, we could probably do a whole podcast of the Nick and Wayne journey that we went on, but yeah, it's he has. There was a time where he rang me up, right? And this was one where he went along and said, "Nick, I need some HR advice." Now, I'm not an HR advisor, and bizarrely enough, we may well have a really superstar HR person come up on the podcast, or may have already been on the podcast, depending when we release episodes.
Yes.
But anyway, but I'll always listen and go, look, a lot of the time with Wayne, sometimes it could just be solved with common sense, or it's that panic moment of going, you're so going to get sued for that. You can't do that. So at least I can kind of steer him away from the, you definitely can't do that. You definitely can. And if it ends up in a grey area, then, we consult with the professionals. Anyway, so yeah, Wayne rings me up and he says, "Nick, I've got an HR problem." Right?
Very big.
Yeah.
Do you know what? At this point,
I've not heard this.
This is now going to pass over to Wayne.
Oh,
Wayne,
right,
you can go along and tell the story from the moment you said, "Nick, I have an HR problem."
I'm assuming he knows because he's smiling.
He knows.
He knows
we
the
spoke
story.
about it
Okay.
beforehand. Yeah.
It can relate to a couple of things, but I think the one particular one.
I think this is the one where we'll call it extracurricular activities.
Yeah, so I had a call from out of the blue about from a female, and she mentioned that her husband.
So did she ring you directly, or did she go to like?
She rang me directly.
Okay.
To the office, and said, "I think I've got an issue. I think my husband is who works for us is seeing somebody at an office that he's working for."
Okay. So, I mean, I guess at this point, it is an HR problem because, if he's not doing his job that he's supposed to be doing or whatever.
If it's in work time, if it's his time, he can do what he wants. But it happened to be in work time, I believe. So with this information, I tried to find out, being sensitive as it was, what she was angling at.
Yeah.
And this particular gentleman was be seen or thought to be doing some sort of act in work time. So this is where I need to find out from Nick, where do we stand in this sort of situation?
I'm assuming this wasn't an act of cleaning.
It was an act of kindness, but not cleanness. So this was a first for me because I've never even come across anything like that in all the years I've been doing it.
Okay, hang on a second. The thing is that we know kind of what's talking about. So I want to make sure that the people in the podcast have a clue what we're talking about here with the random act of kindness that this gentleman was
receiving at the time.
He was receiving an act of kindness from one of these people at one of the sites.
From the site that he was on, one of the staff members on that.
Okay, all right. So it's like
was giving him some kindness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was very happy with said kindness.
I would have believed so at the time.
And she was obviously very happy giving this act of kindness.
That's something you'd have to ask them. So that was a very surreal.
So just to make sure we don't get into any like hot water of this is something that's utterly totally inconsensual, except obviously his wife was not happy about this.
She wasn't. So I don't know why she, that if it was because she was worried that I was going to deduct the hours from while the case was going on.
So I've got a question. So I'm guessing he stopped going to that site, and did you take his place?
In what way? No, I didn't take it.
I mean, obviously, when that cleaner has to be replaced, surely you have to do like a 2P, right? So the conditions have to remain the same for the next person coming in.
Suss out the situation.
On this particular occasion, it came across that it wasn't that case of that. She was making it up so he would get in trouble. So they were going for a rocky stage.
Right.
So she then rang up to say this was going on. Time we investigated it from that, apparently it was seen that they were going for a rocky patch, that she wanted to get rid of him. She made this story up, and was, but could be true, it could not be true.
Who knows?
And we had to, and obviously that was
this is the fun side of business.
that was the crazy part where we had to, we're sitting there and going, so let's see how many HR laws may or may not have been broken. And the problem is that obviously if there's nothing broken, then you can't do a disciplinary just because his wife's annoyed.
No, of course.
But this game...
I'd love to have seen Wayne's face when you got that phone call.
Well, the thing is, you deal with so many different people and so many different, it's so random.
Yeah.
You've got all different kinds of people, like they're all different, so that's just one of many that come in. Sometimes you have to sit there and go, did that really happen?
Yeah.
And then you question it, or you ask people something and it just goes over them. You're like, hello? Yeah.
To be fair, I remember another one. I'm going to bring the story up, and I don't even know whether Wayne remembers this one. So back in the early days, Wayne, as he took every single step, he was literally like a little kid who's learned to ice skate or what have you. And every step he took, he'd always be, Nick, can I come and see you? This is what I've done, something new.
Yeah.
And there was a time where he got his first ever lease car for the business.
Right.
And it was sign written, and he had to come and show it, and he brought it to my office.
Yeah.
And at the time, the business that we were doing, so we were helping Wayne with his books and bits and pieces, but we also had a call answering service. Right. So we took all his phone calls as well. Anyway, so he goes along and brings this sign written car. He's so happy. I'm there going, this is brilliant. It's such a great promotion for the business. Now we've got a platinum vehicle going all over town.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That same day, no word of a lie, a phone call comes in and they say, oh, is this platinum cleaning? And I went, yeah, how can you help? Oh, I've just seen one of your cars. Right.
Right.
And I went, this is like the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Instantly advertising. I'm like, sure. You know, what
Excellent.
cleaning do you need?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I just thought I'd let you know it's parked in a disabled bay at Asda. We wanted to make a complaint about the driver. So I then have to go through the shenanigans to try and make it sound like Platinum at the time. It's such a huge company. Oh, did you manage to get the registration number?
Find out what driver
I need to find out which driver it was. And it's like, yeah, car one, number one, only one person
Wayne.
having it. And I guess Wayne obviously forgot the milk that day and dashed into Asda.
Well, I mean, I don't normally park in them sort of places because that's not what you do.
But great for promotion, apparently.
But advertising,
Yeah. VIP parking.
yeah. So she'll just shit that word of mouth will spread.
Yeah.
Don't use Platinum, no parking in the disabled boat. And obviously we'll put down that was totally accidental and you didn't mean to do it at all, right?
100%.
Because you wouldn't do that. Right. I think I have a good rounded story about Wayne.
Oh.
Wayne, is that? I'll tell you what.
Wayne looks scared.
Why don't we do it? I'll tell you what, look, because we are, this is ultimately a business show and a fun bit and what have you. Wayne, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go along and pitch Platinum Cleaning for anyone listening who might think they want a cleaning company.
Oh.
You say only 30 seconds, right? Okay, so obviously we cover commercial and domestic. So for us, why choose us?
What's the smallest job you'll do?
We'll do anything.
Oven clean?
We'll do oven cleans, carpet cleans.
What's the biggest job you'll do?
Anything from, doesn't matter. We've got the staff to do whatever needs. So we can do pretty much one stop. So we can jet wash, oven clean, carpet clean, normal clean.
New development, 200 new houses.
200 new houses.
Can
Yeah,
do that?
we've just now finished a site at Felixstowe. They're 260. We're there from 4-year project from start to finish.
Are you just local or would you?
We were mainly in East Anglia.
Okay.
I'm normally more local to Ipswich and quite sort of surrounding areas, just to keep the service and the cost relatively, because once you start coming out your patch, you then have to, whack up the price for it. So,
but I'm more a lesson from Superdrum, right?
So I'm always trying to give the customer the best service and the best cost.
I think that might have been more than 30 seconds. But well done.
Yeah.
We can always cut the bits you don't like.
You can edit.
It's the joys of running this thing. Okay, so I think we've probably got everything.
Yeah, it was great.
I think we now have a good opinion of Wayne.
Well, I hope so.
Hang on a second. When I say a good opinion, I just mean like a rounded opinion of, what we actually think of him. So, yeah.
No, it's great. Thank you so much, Wayne.
Wayne, thank you so much for coming on here. And no doubt if anyone wants to be in touch with you, they will find a way to reach out to you.
Platinum Cleaning.
473 35 8888.
Great stuff. Cheers, Wayne. Thanks for coming on.